let's do it. So, Sunday morning, hanging out in my tent, just, sleeping, waiting for the day to warm up because I didn't want to come out of my sleeping bag while it was still really cold, and nighttime, is cold. So I'm hanging out in my tent, and I hear outside the tent, this noise. And shuffling feet and people moving around and whatever outside the tent. And that noise is the universal signifier for insectoid enemy. It's an insect baddie. And I thought to myself while I'm lying in my sleeping bag, fucking brood. The brood are this hive mind racial hatred enemy for me. The brood are this big hive mind of insect things that assimilate and multiply. They're Tyranids. They're Zerg. The brood are those things, basically. And they are the racial hatred enemy for Aeryn. So Aeryn hates them. Just I have racial bonuses to killing them. So roleplay wise, whenever I see one, I gotta kill it. Real fast. With extreme prejudice. So I hear them outside the tent, and I'm like, okay, fuck. I pull my sleeping bag off. I turn to my friend, and I go, hey, my friend Natasha's playing her wild elf Ina, and she was sharing the tent with me. She's a fox tribe. And I went, brood, and I got up, put my boots on, and summoned a psionic blade. Okay, by force of will, I grant psionic blade, and that gives me like a lightsaber, basically like a psionic sword. There we go. By force of will, I grant psionic blade, and then unzip the tent, step outside, look around, see there's 3 brood over there. Walk over to them, and because they're connected to the hive mind, you know what works really well? Charm, because it separates them from the hive mind, and they just explode, which is super great. So I'm like, well, I have my psionic sword, I have all my skills back because it's the next day. Let's just get crazy. Well, I walk over all these brood, and I'm like, oh, this is Vespin land, and they come to attack. And they're throwing acid or whatever. Dodge. Spell strike charm. Boom! Spell strike charm. Boom! Spell strike charm. Boom! And during this whole situation, this is I've shouted Colrin, brood, and he's getting out of his tent right now. And putting on his boots and getting his spear and getting ready. And these NPCs are all dead, so they got their hands on their heads, so walking around, and they go out of our line of sight, and then they spawn and they come back in with more brood. And so Colrin's up, he's got his spear, I've got my sword with 1 charge left on it, and I realized that I have racial hatred against these things, so I can swing for more damage, because racial hatred increases my damage by 4. Because I'm level 12. Because it's every 4 levels you get, or every 3 levels you get 1 extra level of racial hatred damage. So the higher level your wild elf is, the more damage you do to your racial hatred race. So I do 4 extra damage to these things. So I've got my magic sword in one hand, I'm swinging for 5 magic, 5 magic, 5 magic, 5 magic, and he's flanking around, stabbing them in the back with a spear. It was just a really good way to sort of wake up. And once they were all dead, we fought 3 waves of them, I think. Once they were all dead, I was like, start your morning by killing the thing you hate the most. What a good way to wake up, basically, It was great. It was great. It's fucking super fun. I'm really glad they sent a couple of things up to camp, because usually camp doesn't get any action. We're too far afield for them to send NPCs to bug us. Ha, get it? Bug us, brood? Ha. Yeah. So we got a bit of action up at camp, which is nice. And we ended up fighting some bigger, what do you call it? Some bigger brood, down at town, because there's a big attack happening, probably an hour later, which is pretty great, because I love fighting brood. Brood are a great fight. They're challenging enemies that have body damage. They come in many variations. They're, they have the ability to be tactical because they can be directed by the hive mind. Like, Brood are smart. They're a smart enemy, and killing them is great. It's a fun time. You don't think you can manage? You need a hot shower and a cup of tea before fighting any monsters? Yeah. I mean, the thing is, right? August, like, the way it makes me feel is, like, you get that groggy feeling of, like, waking up in the morning. You're not quite sure where you are. You're not quite sure what's going on. And as soon as I heard and, like, shuffling of feet outside my tent, I wasn't Violet waking up anymore. I was in character, Aeryn, let's go. Which is just, it's just great when you have, like, a situation that can, like, put you right into that headspace. That headspace of, like, I'm going to fucking destroy these things. Because they don't deserve to exist. Adrenaline, it's what's for breakfast. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, so we got to fight some brood. And some bigger brood down in town. Though, like, we ended up being basically the only people fighting those bigger brood. So that was kind of dangerous. Like, people saw us fighting and they were like, they'll handle it. And they just stood around like a bunch of assholes. Fucking people. Okay. So, we'll take a break again and just, like, talk to chat a bit. I'm sorry. I put the stories up from the things as VODs on, like, my highlights and on YouTube, so I try not to interrupt my flow of thought too much by, like, talking to chat during the thing that will be a VOD. But in between, like, I'm more than happy to do so. How long have I been streaming, Tara? 4 years. Really long time. Just about. Yeah. No, it's all good. It's all good. I don't mind. I don't mind the questions. I wish I could answer them, basically. Other half trolls? No, there's no half any races, basically. Elf's making me do work later. Yeah. Sorry, Kata. Sorry, Kata. Kata does my highlights. Kata doesn't get paid. Psh, Sarah, please. I wish I could. Yeah, is there anything else that I could have addressed? What race is my character? She's a wild elf. Can you transform once or more often? I don't know. I would have to read the ritual again. What other stories? Oh! So you have to join LARP as a group? No, I joined by myself and then made friends there. And now I have a group all my own. It's great. Alright, so here's another one. Here's another fantastic story. A bunch of demons showed up. I was concerned because when demons show up, they might talk to me, and I'm not into that. They didn't, though. It's good. It's good because I didn't have to deal with it. But a bunch of demons showed up in town. They poofed in from hell. They used the gate from hell and showed up and were like, "Where's the fourth?" And they're looking for, like, this child that, like, is some important sacrifice or something. I don't know anything about it because, like, it was to do with the Wanderer, which is, like, this demon that I don't really, pay much attention to. But they're, like, looking for the fourth, and they're wandering around town, and they're like, "Find us the fourth! Where's the fourth?" And nobody has any idea what the fuck they're talking about. Or maybe they do, and they're just faking it. I don't know, but I didn't know. So they'd come up to me and just be like, "Where's the fourth?" And I'm like, "What is the fourth?" And they'd be like, "You'll know it when you see it." I'm like, "That's very helpful. Thank you." They say, "Well, we'll start killing people if you don't bring us the fourth." And then, like, some of the demons started attacking people or whatever. Which is, No good. And then we started fighting demons, which is really difficult because they're strong. They have magic thresholds and they swing for a lot, which means that like only magic weapons will hurt them. But thankfully they're weak to psionics. Everything in this game is weak to psionics, which is just so great. They're weak to psionics, so they take 4 times damage from psionics. So throwing like a 10 damage spell at them does 40 damage. I was blowing these motherfuckers up. And then at the end, the big one was like asleep on the ground, but nobody could kill it. Right? And we did kill it once, and it poofed back, and it was like, that was rude, you know, like, because they get sent back to hell when you kill them. So there's this big conflict with a whole bunch of demons. It wasn't super interesting or super dramatic. There was nothing in the combat that made me super want to tell a story about the combat as a whole. But at the end, people were like, who can get rid of this demon? Who can get rid of this demon? And I stepped through a circle of people, like, stand aside, get out of my way, you know, walked up to this demon lying on the ground. And it's like some greater demon, you know, maybe it's a Balrog, I don't know. It's like something big and nasty. It's like lying there asleep or something. Somebody managed to get it with a spell. But nobody could kill it. I basically went, by force of will I inflict exorcism. And just like dropped a packet onto the body. And exorcism is a great spell because it does 254 damage, psionic damage, but to a demon that's quadrupled, so it's like 1,000 something damage, like 1,048 damage or some shit. And if the demon is killed by an exorcism, it is exiled from the plane of the mortal realm for a year and a day. It cannot return. So we could get rid of it for a year and a day, for a long time, you know? I just went, I'm done with this demon shit. Exorcism. Fuck off. Oh, it's just 214 damage to a greater demon? Well, whatever. Well, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's still dead. It's dead. Against demons, it is the ultimate killer of demons. It's also a 9th level spell. You know, like, it's very difficult to use. I was lucky that I had it memorized that day. Why did I have it memorized that day? Because I thought it might be useful. And I can grant myself phase, you know, that I haven't used the day before. So it's fine. I don't need to memorize phase. It only affects demons. Exorcism only affects demons. So I sent this demon back to its realm, and it dropped all of its loot directly on the ground, like, you know, like all the loot just like fell at its feet because I exorcised it. You know, there was no like kill it and it comes back and kill it and it comes back and it drops loot out to various people. It just dropped its loot on the ground, and Aeryn scooped to pick it up. Yeah. Aeryn scooped to pick it up, and Zion, who's like one of the council members, like this cat person character who's like very nice and very earnest, was like, hey, that's hers, and then realized who she was talking to and was like, oh, yeah, no, you can pick that up, it's fine. So Aeryn picks up the loot and gives it to me, and it's a bunch of catalysts, which are like magic items, sort of, that you spend to do like high level ritual magic. So like my witchcraft ritual requires 1 creation catalyst, you know? So having a bunch of catalysts is helpful. And once I get Mana Harvest, which is like a mage occupational, I'll be able to spend catalysts to regain spell slots and like use spells I'd already used that day, which is a thing that I'm gonna do at some point. And yeah, when you're a witch, always be ready for demons. You know, like, nothing is more intimidating to a demon than a psionicist. Which is why Witchcraft Psionics is, like, the best. Also, Spellstrike Repulsion is the best thing ever. Side note. If I Spellstrike Repulsion Sword, you have to drop your weapon. You gotta throw it away. And I've got a magic sword in my hand. And I just keep hitting you. It's great. It's great. Repulsion makes you drop, like, items that you're carrying. But yeah, so we sent him packing off back to hell. He dropped a bunch of catalysts and a magic dagger. Sadly, the magic dagger expired that month, which is stupid. But we got a magic dagger. It was cool. I was down. It's the first time I've ever been able to scoop the loot off the big enemy. Like, whatever the big enemy is, usually I'm not the one who gets the loot from it. It was nice to finally be the person to get the loot off the big bad guy. You know? Like, this big bad thing that attacked us, I got the loot off of it. Expired, yeah, magic items have expiry dates. They basically become non-magical after a certain amount of time, so that the game is not flooded. So the game is not flooded with magic items. So yeah, so we killed a bunch of demons, send them packing off back to hell. Fuck demons. Because Aeryn doesn't actually like demons. She only likes her patron, you know? Other demons, they're all competition. Other witches, they're all competition. I'm not going to be friends with you just because you're a witch. I might be friends with you if you're a witch of Neilostromus, like my demon, the demon who we both serve, you know? But if you're like, I'm a witch who serves fucking the Wanderer, or, you know, whatever fucking stupid-ass demon do I serve, Smitty, you know? You die because you're competition. You're just competition to me. You're another person who is in service to another thing that is not helpful to me in any way. Yeah.